Before we start, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and write in the comments if this has ever happened to you, because today's story is painfully familiar. Welcome back to Upspeak, where learning English is fun, a little embarrassing, and very real. Today, we're talking about those moments when you think your English is great, and then English proves you wrong at the worst possible time. I was feeling confident that day, very confident, too confident. I had been watching English videos, listening to podcasts, repeating sentences in the mirror, and honestly, I thought, wow, I sound fluent now. So when I walked into a small cafe in the city center, I decided this was my moment. No pointing at the menu, no smiling nervously. I was going to order like a native speaker. The barista looked friendly, young, relaxed. This should be easy. She smiled and said, "Hi, what can I get for you?" My brain immediately panicked, but I ignored it. Confidence, remember? I opened my mouth and said very proudly, "I would like a hot coffee, but not too hot, medium hot, normal hot." She blinked once, then twice. "Do you mean warm?" she asked. Warm, yes, that word, the word I knew, the word I forgot. Instead of saying yes, I said, no, not warm. I want hot, but friendly hot, friendly hot. Why did I say that? She stopped smiling. Not in a rude way, in a confused way, the dangerous kind of confused. "So hot," she repeated. "Yes," I said quickly, "but not angry hot." At this point, the man behind me started coughing or laughing. It was hard to tell. The barista nodded slowly, typing something into the machine like she was writing a police report. Anything else? This was my chance to recover. I wanted to sound natural, casual, fluent. "Yes," I said. "Can I also get a piece of, how do you say, sweet bread? The one that makes you happy?" She leaned forward. "Cake." "Yes," I said loudly, too loudly. "The happiness bread." She smiled again. This time, she was definitely laughing. When I paid and finally walked away, holding my coffee and my happiness bread, I realized something important. My English wasn't bad, but my confidence was dangerous. And that was only the beginning of the day, because later that same day, I had a job interview. After the cafe disaster, I told myself the worst was over. I mean, how bad could the rest of the day be? I drank my coffee, ate my happiness bread, and walked confidently to my job interview. This time I was calm, prepared. I even practiced answers in my head like a professional English speaker. The interviewer was a tall man with glasses and a very serious face. He shook my hand and said, "Nice to meet you. Please, have a seat." So far, so good. He looked at my CV and smiled. "Your English looks quite good on paper." On paper, important words. "Thank you," I said. I learned English by listening, mostly funny videos, like this one. He nodded politely. Then came the first real question. So he said, "Tell me about yourself." Easy question. Too easy. I am very motivated. I started. I like working with people. I am responsible. And I am very boring. Silence. Why did I say boring? I meant hardworking. I meant focused. I meant literally anything else. He raised an eyebrow. Boring. Yes, I said quickly. Very boring. Extremely boring. People get tired around me. Why? Was I talking? I see. He said slowly, writing something down. That pen was judging me. He continued. Tell me about your previous job. This was my moment to fix everything. In my last job, I said confidently, I worked as a chicken. The room froze. A chicken? He asked. Yes, I said. Every day, full time, I could feel my soul leaving my body. You mean kitchen? He asked. Kitchen, of course. Kitchen, yes. I said loudly again. Kitchen chicken. I was cooking, not the animal. He smiled, not a friendly smile, a dangerous smile. I understand, he said. Please continue. At this point, my brain was empty. No words, no grammar, just fear. I am good at working under pressure, I said. But English makes me pressure. He nodded like a wise man listening to a life story. English does that to many people. When the interview finally ended, I stood up, shook his hand, and said, Thank you for wasting your time. I meant for your time, but it was too late. I walked out of the building feeling light, like my body was there, but my confidence stayed in the interview room. My phone buzzed in my pocket, a number I didn't know. For a second, I thought about not answering, but I remembered every English learning video saying, be brave, answer the call. So I did. Hello, I said, trying to sound calm and professional. Hello, the voice said. It was the interviewer. We'd like to talk about your interview. My heart started running a marathon. Yes, of course, I said. I am listening with my ears. Why did I add that part? He cleared his throat. We noticed you were nervous. Yes, I said honestly. English makes me small inside. There was a short pause. Then something unexpected happened. He laughed. Not a polite laugh, a real one. You know, he said, you're not the first person to say strange things in English. Yesterday someone told me they were pregnant with experience. That actually made me laugh too. I think, he continued, your English isn't bad. You just think too much. That sentence hit me hard. I learned English by listening, I said. But when I speak, my brain goes on vacation. That's normal, he replied. Language is messy, funny, human. We talked for a few more minutes. Slowly, my sentences became easier. Not perfect, but real. At the end of the call, he said, we'll call you back soon. This time, I answered correctly. Great, I said. I will wait. No extra words, no disasters. When the call ended, I smiled for the first time that day. I realized something important. English isn't about sounding perfect. It's about being understood, even when you say you're a boring chicken working in a kitchen. And honestly, people remember that. So if you're listening right now and sometimes feel embarrassed when you speak English, Remember this, every mistake is proof that you're trying, and trying is how you learn. Final listening question for engagement now, it's your turn. What is the funniest English mistake you've ever made? Write your answer in the comments. If this story made you smile and helped your listening, don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep learning English the fun way. The next morning, I woke up feeling strangely confident. Not native speaker confident, but I will survive this conversation confident. I made coffee, looked at myself in the mirror, and said, "Today, English will not defeat me." The mirror did not answer, but I felt supported anyway. My phone buzzed again. Same unknown number. This time I answered faster. Too fast. "Hello, yes, I am here," I said. Why do I always shout when I'm nervous? "Good morning," the interviewer said calmly. "Did I wake you?" "No," I replied. I was already alive. Another pause. "I'm calling with good news," he said. "We'd like to offer you the position." My brain stopped working. "Sorry," I said. "Can you repeat slowly, like very slowly?" He repeated it. I understood every word, and still I panicked. "Oh," I said. "Wow, thank you, I am very exciting." "I'm glad you're excited," he replied gently. No, I corrected myself. "You are exciting. I am excited." English grammar attacks again. He laughed again. "Don't worry," he said. "You communicate clearly. That matters." After the call, I sat on the couch and stared at the wall. I replayed every strange sentence I had ever said in English. Every mistake, every awkward pause, and suddenly they didn't feel heavy anymore. They felt funny. Later that day, I met a friend for lunch. I told her the story. She said, "See? Your English mistakes didn't stop you." She's right, I thought. They didn't. That's when I understood something important. People don't remember perfect grammar. They remember confidence, honesty, and sometimes a boring chicken in a kitchen. English is not a test. It's a tool. And sometimes it's a comedy show. So if you're listening now and thinking, "My English is not good enough," let me tell you this. Your English is good enough to start, good enough to try, and good enough to laugh at. And tomorrow, it will be even better. On my first day at work, I arrived early. Too early. The office was empty and quiet, like it was still sleeping. I sat at my desk and practiced one sentence in my head. "Good morning," just in case. When people started coming in, I smiled and said it again and again. Good morning, simple, safe, no grammar danger. Everything was going well, until the coffee machine. I stood there, staring at it like it was a very advanced robot. A coworker walked over. "Do you know how it works?" he asked. "Yes," I said confidently. I did not. I pressed a button. The machine made a loud noise. Coffee went everywhere except the cup. "Oh," I said. "It's emotional today." Everyone laughed. And in that moment, I realized something beautiful. I wasn't the nervous person from the interview anymore. I was just a normal person, speaking English, making mistakes, and still being understood. At the end of the day, as I walked home, I thought about my English journey. All the listening videos, all the funny stories, all the wrong sentences. They brought me here. So, if you're listening now, remember this: English doesn't have to be perfect to work, it just has to be real. Thank you for listening. Keep smiling, keep learning, and don't be afraid of emotional coffee machines.